use a little bit more clarity, more calm, and then be able to communicate powerfully. If you're looking for that way to be more powerful, more peaceful, no matter what turbulence is going on, listen to our experts today. So let's go say hi to them. I'm so excited to have you here. Hi, Barbara.
Hi, Laura. Thanks so much for having me. My name is Barbara Boldt. I'm an executive communication skills coach outside of Detroit, Michigan. And my website is boldtglobal.com.
Great to have you here, Barbara. And hi, Anne.
Hi, Laura. Thank you for having me as well. My name is Anne Dunnett. I am based on a beautiful Vancouver Island, and I am a haiku mindfulness guide, and I can be found at everydayhaiku.ca.
Welcome, Anne. And hi, Gloria.
Hello, Laura. Thank you for having me also. I am a communication and accent reduction coach here in Toronto, Canada, and you can find me at clearlyspeaking.ca.
Wonderful. So glad to have all of you here today to talk about communication, talking about getting clear, getting calm, and communicating powerfully. I want to jump right into our advice today. And so, Barbara, I was hoping you could start us off with that first piece. How can the viewers get clear?
That's a great question, Laura. One piece of advice I give all of my clients is to use specific vocabulary. It's interesting whether someone's first language is English or not. We sometimes have the habit of using vague or non-specific vocabulary, words like this or that or stuff or bunch. If we're referring to something, we want to use the specific word of what we're speaking about. It's very easy to get lost in a conversation or a presentation. So keeping in mind that you want to be referring back to those keywords is, I think, a great tip, and it helps people be very clear.
Yeah, I find that when I'm talking, a lot of times I'll repeat the person or the entity I'm talking about instead of saying his or her even, right?
Yes.
Or them or they, because which they is that I'm talking about. And I want people to know.
Well, and even in writing, it's a really good practice to go back and read what you wrote. And is it clear what you're referring to? That's what you have to ask yourself.
Yeah, so much of this shorthand and text messaging has made us a little lazy in providing context to our messages, and people make assumptions and they're not always the message you meant to get across, right?
Yep, absolutely. And I will ask people like, so who is they? Or making them be more clear, because you can't assume that people are going to follow you.
And I love that suggestion of reading what you wrote, because when you read what you wrote, you really find out how clear you are, especially if you take a break in between writing it and reading it. So thank you for those tips on how to get clear. Now, of course, in chaotic times, it's tough to get calm enough to get clear. So I think, Anne, help us. How can we get calm?
Absolutely. Thank you. That's a great question, especially these days. As a haiku poet, what I do is I use haiku poetry as a tool for helping people with mindfulness and taking them from that chaos that we are clearly in right now and going into stillness. And haiku poetry is all about connecting with nature, connecting with yourself and how you're feeling in the moment in connection to your environment. And it's really about going outside and getting into nature. I think that's one of the biggest and best things that we can do to come into calmness, is to be mindful of being when we're outside, is don't take your phone with you and just listen to the birds, try and get into a park and smell the, spring is in the air, like smell the spring and just take in everything that you're feeling and the senses, and, even go and touch a tree if you're brave enough to do that. But it's really getting into connecting with all of the beautiful things that are out there and just going into some more simplicity and appreciating the simple things that we have in life.
I
So that's
love
what I
that.
recommend.
I love that. I mean, just as you were saying that, I was thinking about being in nature and I was already feeling calmer, but getting out there and then doing that extra step you were saying of getting present to what's around is critical to the calm. It seems like, yeah, wonderful. Thank you for that wonderful advice. Now, Gloria, tell us about now communicating. We're calm. We might have the specific words that are clear, but how do we communicate that effectively and powerfully?
Thank you, Laura. Most people don't realize that communication is internal and external. And if you want to be an authentic communicator, if you want to say what you mean and mean what you say, you have to pay attention to the thoughts, the internal communication, what you say to yourself, and what you say externally. So my two pieces of advice for this is, number one, pay attention to the thoughts you're consistently having. Are they empowering or sabotaging? Pay attention to the company you keep. Are they empowering or are they sabotaging? And for the second piece of advice, how you communicate is how you're perceived, and how you're perceived is how you're treated. And if you don't like the way you're being treated, look at the way you're communicating. Most times people look at the other person who they think is mistreating them, but really it's how we come across. So for us to be treated the way we want to be treated, we have to communicate powerfully. We have to look at the way we are communicating, because that's what people will respond to.
Is there one shift that somebody could take when they realize they're not being powerful?
Yes. Again, pay attention to how you're communicating, because am I sounding passive? Am I sounding as though somebody could bully me? Is my voice soft, or can they not hear me? So the voice is powerful. The words, as Barbara mentioned, are powerful. And being calm, as Anne mentioned, very powerful. Together, they can all allow us or give the person an opportunity to communicate powerfully.
Yeah. So what I'm getting is you use the tools of being calm, being specific, knowing how you're coming across,
Yes.
and you're doing that internal assessment first, knowing, what you really want to have happen, and then communicate from there.
That's right.
Beautiful. Wow. So we are ready to go out and get powerfully communicating. So, but I know all this wisdom came from somewhere else, and you've spent lots of time and you have lots of expertise. So I want to get to know you a little bit more. So I was going to start with you, Barbara. Who do you work with and what do you do with them?
My ideal clients are people in companies, managers, executives in companies whose first language is not English, and they need to learn leadership communication skills in order to take their career forward. So and the challenging thing about that is that these people are often in a company with their head down, working really hard, and they don't know I exist. So that's one of my challenges, is to help people understand that I'm out here to help them.
Right. That's powerful too. That's really empowering to leaders. And how did you get into this work?
Well, my education in this area is very organic. I expatriated myself to Italy many years ago, and I learned Italian and ended up teaching English. And then I taught in English in various academic institutions. So I spent a lot of time listening to people whose first language isn't English, trying to get their messages out and across. And they were at all different levels of competency in English. But I think because of that, my work really with all of these different people, my brain developed this ability to just kind of hear when something's not there. I hear what's missing. I hear what's out of order. So I have this ability to very quickly identify what someone's struggle is in their communication journey. And I help them then fix whatever it is that they're struggling with.
It's so empowering when you can help someone who's willing to be helped see their blind spot in communication and make them turn that around. And that's what we're doing about today, is talking about how to get clear on those blind spots, how to get calm and then communicate powerfully. Thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
Anne, I'd love to learn more about you and your expertise. Who do you work with? What do you do with them?
I work mostly with women. Usually it's somebody who may possibly already have a little bit of a mindfulness practice, who are interested in meditation or yoga, and they're just looking to open up and learn something new. And what I do is I just really teach people a little bit about the background and the history of what haiku is, which is, if anybody is curious, it is a Japanese form of poetry, and it offers a lot of wisdom that most people don't really know that much about it. A lot of people learned about haiku possibly when they were younger, but it's actually not what people think it is. And I mentioned earlier, it's a lot to do with connecting with nature, but it's also a lot about being present. It's actually written in the present tense, and it also connects a lot to the senses, and it creates images, and it's kind of an experiential form of poetry that takes people within, it takes you inward. And again, I mentioned, I think earlier, is that I think this is something that people are a lot more drawn to. People are getting a lot more curious about what I do.
Yeah.
And it's great that I can start to help people to see the world in a new way.
So tell me about how your work impacts people.
It brings a lot of calmness, and it has opened them up to really look, to tap into all of these things that I had mentioned, the senses, and to just to see the world, even though it's really kind of terrible looking right now, but to see the world in a new way, and to learn how to appreciate some of the simpler things that we actually have, and just bring some joy back into those simpler things. And
you have a newsletter that does that, right?
I do. Yes. I send a newsletter out once a week, and a lot of people open it every week. And I've heard people tell me that they look forward to getting my newsletter every week, and it just helps them to go into that place of stillness.
Wonderful. What a gift.
Mhm.
And Gloria, tell us about your expertise. Who do you work with and what do you do?
I work with 3 types of women, actually. Those who experience imposter syndrome in the workplace, those who feel they are disrespected or bullied or ignored and don't know what to do about it, or worse, feel they deserve to be treated that way, and professionally trained women whose language fluency is preventing them from getting the jobs that they are qualified for. And what I do with them is I show them how to define how they want to be treated, because that is not something we were taught. I also teach them how to redefine their self-image and live up to their potential instead of the other people's expectations of them.
And so how did you come to this work?
Because of an incident in the workplace many, many years ago where I was bullied and I didn't know how to handle the situation. So I cried and begged to keep my job. And months after, I felt really bad because why am I crying and begging to keep my job? I should know how to do this. But I did ask quite a few women at the time how they would have handled the situation. And they all said they would have done the same thing, which made me think, we need to change this. We need to change this. And I vowed that I will never be in that position again. So I did a lot of research and interviews with a lot of people in different age groups, from different cultures, different industries, and found out the one thing that we all need to be respected is superior communication skills. And so along the way, I developed 30 plus modules of communication training and use them on myself to get my confidence up and to build up my self-esteem and be able to handle situations. And so because of what I've been through and the process I use to develop my programs, I approach communication holistically, as I was mentioning before. It is internal and it is external. So we have to combine the two to be able to communicate powerfully.
Sounds wonderful, especially those interviews that you did to transform yourself and learn all the tools that you now are passing on for generations to benefit from. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
All of you are just exquisite women. This is the kind of women we have here at Women Speakers Association. And I want to invite those of you watching to check us out and hear a little bit more from our three guests here today about what the value is, because as you can see, we have first value is like exquisite people. And so Barbara, share with us a little bit more about your experience about the value of Women Speakers Association.
I think one of the values is the whole idea that you promote us, which is marvelous. I've been enjoying the networking events. I'm meeting really fabulous people, wonderful people to collaborate. In fact, Gloria and I met that way, and we had a conversation offline right away. And the other thing is that I have come in as an author. I'm extremely excited about starting work on the next version of, I think it's Voices in the 21st Century, the book. And I'm very excited about writing my chapter because I'm also writing my own book, and the two are going to dovetail. So I'm very excited about that.
And we're excited too. Yes, Voices of the 21st Century is the book. Every year we come out with, each year it has a different subtitle. This year we just hit bestseller on Amazon, and the subtitle is Conscious Caring Women Who Make a Difference. And that brings me to you, Anne, to tell us about the value you receive from Women Speakers Association.
Thank you. I would say similar to Barbara. Since I've joined, I'm connecting with so many amazing women, and it's really helped uplift me. It's like I think a lot of entrepreneurs tend to but our solo entrepreneurs are at home, possibly isolated a little bit. So the networking events have been so powerful, and I'm just so grateful that I've joined, and it's really been an amazing experience so far.
And we love having you a part of the networking and the book, and thank you for your participation. So Gloria, what has been the value of Women Speakers Association for you so far?
A lot. I joined because I wanted to become a savvy, confident speaker, and believe that WSA is the platform to help me to get to that level. So I am getting the training, and I'm meeting like-minded people. As Barbara said, we had a really good conversation. And another benefit or actually two benefits that I wasn't expecting. And as Barbara said, the promotion of my business and what I do. And I'm already collaborating with lots of other members on projects. So I am getting more than I came for. Thank you.
You're welcome. Wow, that is incredible value that all of you are getting. And that's what we do here. You can download, if you're someone who wants to speak, or I mean, who doesn't speak? Hello. That's what we've been talking about today. If you want to get clear, get calm, and communicate effectively and powerfully in your life, then go to speakersuccessplan.com, download our Speaker Success Plan, get this little roadmap to learning how to, build your business around speaking, and or just get clear, get calm, and communicate powerfully. And you'll also be connected with our newsletter that comes out every Monday, and you'll learn what activities are going on in our network for the public, as well as for our premier members like Barbara, Anne, and Gloria. So thank you everyone for joining us for another entirely rich episode of the Women Speakers Association's WSA-TV Women's Premiere Show. I'm Laura Rubenstein, your host and producer. We'll see you next time. Bye.